This So as usual, we dedicate this session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we'll recite the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Chahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padahan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Shratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Atsarvasva Padam Bojau Radha Madana Mohano Divyat Vrindaranyo Kalpa Drumada Srimatratnagara Simhasanastu Srimatrada Srila Govinda Devo Prashtali Bihi Sevyamano Smarami Shrimanra Sarasarambi Vamsivata Statashtitaha Karsham Venur Swaner Gopir Gopinata Shriyastuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavatir naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Nastaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavat sorry nigamakalpatarur galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam vipata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavakaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Tvai me ananda vishaya matir madhupati asakrit ratim udvahatat adha gange vaukam mudandatihi. O Madhupate, Lord of sweetness, as the Ganga forever flows to the sea without hindrance, Let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Viknamina Shanarasimhaiti Namini Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayitim Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Tatsat. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to our Srimad Bhagavatam session. So, we are doing chapter 12, Birth of Emperor Parikshit. And we are continuing from our previous session. So, this is part 2. We will probably do one more part 3, and then we will move on to the next chapter. So, let's start with this one. So, here, birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Let's do a bit of recap what we have covered in the chapter so far. So as we know, the chapter begins with inquiries. So very important, inquiries. Always, it is the birth, it gives birth to knowledge, inquiry. So that's why you'll see a lot of questions being raised in Srimad Bhagavatam. So anyway, these inquiries are being raised by you can see here, these are the assembled sages in Naimisaranya forest. So they are all headed by Saunaka Rishi. This is Saunaka Rishi. And he's placing these questions on Sutta Goswami. Why Sutta Goswami? Because Sutta Goswami was there when the original Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And at that time, Sutta Goswami was also one of the people assembled there. So now he's repeating the same message to the rest of these Naimisaranya forest sages. So anyway, based on those questions, they wanted to know about Maharaj Parikshit. Because, Bhagavatam, they asked, basically Bhagavatam is about 6 questions which are raised. We discussed about that again last session. And specifically, they wanted to know, because such a great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the solution for everything, solution for all problems, the shelter for dharma, the shelter for all living entities now that Lord Krishna has left the world, is the incarnation of the Lord in Grantha form, book form, Srimad Bhagavatam. It has arisen from the ocean just as when Lord Krishna left the earth, and where everyone can take shelter. And this is so such a great literature. We heard about the history behind the literature and how it came about, but they also wanted to know more about the speaker and also the person who heard Bhagavatam originally. So the speaker, as we know, is Sukadev Goswami, and the listener, it was spoken to Parikshit Maharaj. So what are these great personalities where such a great book was presented to? So they wanted to know more information about them. Because, Srimad Bhagavatam is all about pastimes and glories of the Bhagavat. Bhagavat refers to 3 things. Bhagavat refers to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavat also refers to the devotees, the pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we'll hear so many pastimes about that. And Bhagavat also refers to the book, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And so anyway, what they wanted to know about Parikshit Maharaj, specifically they wanted to know about his deliverance and his birth. How was Parikshit Maharaj saved from this disaster? If you, in the previous session, we talked about how the Brahmastra weapon, the most dangerous weapon in the universe. Why? Because it cannot be stopped. Brahmastra, the benediction is once it's released, it cannot be checked or stopped by anyone. So it was released and it was aimed towards Parikshit Maharaj, who was a baby in the womb. And this was shot by Ashwatthama because he wanted to destroy the Kuru dynasty, the Pandavas line. So anyway, the Lord directly came and saved Parikshit Maharaj even in the womb itself. So we heard about the deliverance of Parikshit. So, and then we also heard about eventually, after being saved, when the zodiac signs, when the planets and the stars were all arranged in the proper constellation, in the auspicious sign, at that time Parikshit Maharaj took birth. So we heard about that also. And they also wanted to know about the activities of Parikshit Maharaj. What will this child do? What will he do? And they wanted to know about his death. And most importantly, because these are all transcendental sages, they wanted to know about what does he attain after death. So all these questions are asked by the sages to Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami, we heard in the previous session, I've marked the ones in yellow. The ones in yellow, we have already heard in the previous session. We've heard about the deliverance, we've heard about the birth. And in this session, we will hear about the activities. And towards the end of the chapter, we will also hear about the death of Parikshit Maharaj. But the attainment of Parikshit Maharaj will not be answered in this chapter. That will be saved for a later chapter later on. So anyway, so these are the, we follow the chronology as given by Srila Vyasadeva. There is a science behind this chronology. We don't want to jump ahead of the chronology. We don't want to go ahead. By following the exact chronology, it actually builds our faith. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Certain things need to be built, certain things need to be understood before the whole picture is revealed in our heart. So in this way, we heard the glories of Parikshit Maharaj's grandfather first. Before starting to discuss about a particular person, the Vedic method of talking about a person is they start with the grandfather. They start with the ancestors and then the grandfather and then the father. So like that. So in here also, they were glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj because Yudhishthira Maharaj is the grandfather. And we know that Arjuna, grandfather, because Arjuna is the grandfather, but Yudhishthira Maharaj is the brother of Arjuna, so it's like grandfather also, and he's the king. So the glories of Yudhishthira Maharaj was discussed, and how he basically spoke about his administrative qualities. What a great king he was! How expert he was in managing the kingly affairs. And also the fame of his kingdom. What kind of kingdom? Not some small backwater kingdom somewhere. It was kingdom such that the entire earth, Bhuloka, was his kingdom, including the oceans, the lakes, the seas, the waters, the trees, the everything, the mountains. And the kingdom's fame was such that it even rivaled the heavenly kingdoms. Even Lord Indra and even the higher planetary systems, even Lord Brahma was admiring this kingdom administered by by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So it was like a Ram Rajya, kingdom of Ram, come again, like Vaikunta almost, by the grace of Lord Krishna, blessing his pure devotee. So then we also heard Parikshit Maharaj saved in the womb, right? And the description, so we heard about what Parikshit Maharaj saw while he was in the womb. So the description of the Lord's form, Angushta Matram, the measurement of the Lord was just the size of a thumb. So this was the measurement of the Paramatma. So the Lord in his Paramatma form immediately answered the call of distress and saved Parikshit Maharaj within the womb. So he was just the size of a thumb. Angushta means thumb. And we heard how Lord vanquishes the Brahmastra, which cannot be vanquished, but still the Lord was able to do it just to save his pure devotee. And he was very angry. His eyes were red because such a weapon was launched against a pure devotee in such a helpless form. So the Lord was always there. Therefore, he is called infallible, Achyuta. He never fails in saving his devotees. So then we heard about Parikshit Maharaj's birth and his samskaras. So, in Vedic society, there are samskaras, purificatory ceremonies, which is carried out starting right from the birth of the child. Right? The birth is called Jata Samskara, Samskara, Jatakam Samskara. So we heard about that. And just a very quick recap again on what was the Jatakam Samskara. So we stopped here in the previous session. So just to give a continuation to what we are going to speak about, I'll just recap this verse again. King Yudhishthira, who was Pritamana, very satisfied. he was very satisfied with the birth of Parikshit Maharaj and had the purificatory process of Jatakam performed. So what is Jatakam process? So basically, when the child is born, the umbilical cord is tied to the child. The father will come and he will cut the cord, uttering some mantras, and in this way the child is blessed. So that is the Jatakam ceremony. So, and then there is an elaborate samskara. So learned Brahmanas headed by Daumya and Kripa recited auspicious hymns. So this is basically how Vedic sacrifices or samskaras are carried out, right? Brahmanas, learned Brahmanas are invited and they are leading the samskaras by reciting Vedic hymns. So who's Daumya? Daumya is the priest of the Pandavas. And so this Daumya Rishi, he accompanied the Pandavas even when they were in exile. So Kshatriyas, warrior class, they are kings and warriors and administrators. So Vedic society is very scientific. Just like the arms, right? They need direction. Someone, the brain directs the arms to do something. The head, basically the head, the eyes, the ears, the brain. So all of this directs the arm to do things. So either to cut vegetables or to do something or to write or to defend the person or to attack someone. So this direction is coming from the brain. So similarly, Vedic society, the arms of the Vedic society are the Kshatriyas. So they are responsible to protect the Vedic Dharma. They are responsible to carry out various activities in the basically in pursuit of the Vedic Dharma. And who directs them? The Brahmanas. So the Kshatriyas, those who are following Dharma, they don't simply just act as they see fit. So they will always select a Brahmana to become their guide, and they will respectfully and obediently follow the advice of the guide, the Brahmana guide, who advises them in everything. So that's how. So in that way, Daumya Rishi was the Brahmana advisor of the Pandavas, and the Brahmanas followed the Pandavas everywhere. Even when they went to the exile and everything, the Daumya Rishi followed and advised him throughout, advised the Yudhishthira Maharaj and all that throughout. And who's Kripacharya? Kripacharya is he is one of the gurus also, and he taught both the Kauravas and the Pandavas warfare. We have heard of Dronacharya. Dronacharya is the main teacher for warfare. And he taught them mystic weapons, how to use mystic weapons. Whereas Kripacharya is the teacher who taught them how to use the normal weapons, chariots, how to ride the chariot, how to fight with normal weapons. So that's Kripacharya. And if you read the purport of this verse, that is, Prabhupada gives a description about Kripacharya's history. So briefly, Kripacharya, he is born to Rishi. There's a Rishi called Sarban Rishi. And Sarban Rishi and Janapadi is the mother. And they were born with as twins. Kripacharya, Kripa and Kripi. Kripi is the sister. And they were born in the, in the forest. And later they also grew up in the forest area amongst the ashram of the Rishi. And later, Shantanu Maharaj is the father of Bhishma Dev. So very long time ago, father of Bhishma Dev, he found them, Kripa and Kripi, in the forest as children, and he brought them to the kingdom, recognizing them as very powerful Brahminical children, and he raised them. He got them to be raised, and later Kripi was married to Dronacharya. So that is, and because they were raised by the king, Kripacharya was also bound to serve the king. So that's the problem. Brahmanas are supposed to be independent. They are not supposed to be servitorship. No, they are not supposed to follow servitorship. So that's the problem with Drona and Kripa. Both became servitors of the kings, which is actually adharma. So anyway, because of that, Kripacharya was, though he always favored the Pandavas, he was righteous and everything. But because he was beholden to the kingdom, whoever became the king, so Dhritarashtra was the king and Duryodhana was the prince heir. So therefore, he supported them in the Mahabharata war. But still, he did it out of duty as he saw it, and not because he did not like the Pandavas. He was very fond of the Pandavas. But nevertheless, after the war was over, when Yudhishthira became king, he again invited Kripacharya back to the kingdom to serve him because he knew this is a very great, powerful Brahmana, very learned, very wise. So a king is always guided by advisors. So he invited Kripacharya. So since Kripacharya was there, he was also invited to perform this Jataka ceremony for Parikshit. So let's continue. So upon the birth of a son, as Prajatirthe, Tirthe means charity, giving charity. So upon the birth of the son, usually Vedic ceremony is one gives charity. We heard, how when Krishna was born, Nanda Maharaj gave so much of charity. And we also heard how when Mahaprabhu was born also, right? His father gave so much of charity. So Jagannath Mishra gave so much of charity to everybody. So in this way, this is the culture. Whenever there is a nice, wonderful occasion like birth or marriage, so one should give some charity. So charity here, what is charity? So anyway, we'll come to that. So upon the birth of a son, as Prajatirtha, as charity to the Brahmanas and to also all the other attendees, the king, here the king was described as Tirthavit. So Tirthavit means, very important point, Tirthavit means, Tirtha, as I mentioned, means charity, right? Tirthavit means one who is expert in giving charity. And Prabhupada mentions that expert in giving charity means this, one who knew how, where, and when charity should be given. So that's Vedic understanding. Charity also is not whimsically given to anyone or at any time for any purpose, not just like that. There is a good time, a good those in the Vedic tradition, they knew how to maximize the benefit correctly without incurring any ill effect. Because even charity given, if one feeds the snake milk, if one constantly gives milk to the snake, what kind of charity is that? That the snake is the milk which the snake drinks, it's only going to make the snake stronger and increase its venom. And the snake will not know gratitude, right? So, and that's dangerous. So even in charity, there is a time, place, and circumstances. Bhagavad Gita describes this very much. If you see chapter 17, it talks about charity in the mode of goodness, charity in the mode of passion, charity in the mode of ignorance. So this is very nicely explained over there. So here, Maharaj Parikshit Yudhishthira Maharaj is described as one who is expert in charity. So he knows when. So usually charity is given at the right time, like, in certain festivals, in certain full moon, dark moon, during eclipse. So these are the best times to give charity. And there are certain do's and don'ts also, like charity should not be given in front of the Lord. Because we should understand the Lord is the greatest charity giver. It should be given outside, not in front of the deity. That is not the way to give charity. And it's also given to, ideally, charity should be given to the most deserving personalities, because whatever that's given, whatever they use with what is given, it also impacts the giver. So if one gives charity to God-conscious souls, those who have dedicated their lives, like sannyasis, like brahmacharis, like gurus, and pure devotees like brahmanas, so then the charity becomes very, very potent. So anyway, that is Tirthavit. Okay, so but what is charity? What is considered charity based on Vedic understanding? So these are all the different types of charity in Sanskrit. So Hiranyam means gold, right? Hiranya Kashipu. So like that, gold. Hiranya means gold. And Gam Gam means gam, plural for go. So this is cows. So the other way to give charity is in kind, like cows. Those days, those who own cows are considered to be very rich, prosperous. Mahim means land. One can give charity in land. Gramam means in village, because kings, right? They can confer titles to people. Head as the head of the village, like a aristocrat, the lord of the particular land. So like that, Gramam. Hasti means elephants. This is another way of giving charity. Elephants are also very auspicious. Aswan means horses. Horses are also popular. Usually horses are given to Kshatriyas, to those who are other Kshatriyas. And Su Annam. Su means auspicious foodstuff. Annam particularly refers to grains, but generally foodstuffs. Like a rice, barley, all the different types of grains, wheat, vegetables like white pumpkin, yellow pumpkin, uh, all these different gourds. All that is very very auspicious to be given as charity. So Prabhupada comments further. Only the Brahmanas and sannyasis are authorized to accept charity from the householders. So this is Vedic time. In the Vedic time, in society was divided into 4 types of people. The what you call the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. And the Brahmanas, all of the Brahmanas can give and accept charity. The Kshatriyas cannot take charity. They can only exchange or give as a gift. So they don't give them as charity. Vaishyas, they can take, and they also basically exchange only. They don't accept charity. And in the ashram, we have brahmachari. We have brahmachari as students, student life. Grihasthas are the householders, and vanaprasthas are the retired persons, and the sannyasis are those who are renounced. So amongst the 4, only the grihasthas are supposed to maintain themselves by working. The other 3 are simply to exist based on the charity from the grihasthas. So that is the arrangement of Vedic society. So 3/4 of society is dedicated towards the absolute truth, towards spirituality. And only 1/4 of that society is working for maintaining the society. So in that way, society is very healthy and it is guided in the right direction, putting important focus and emphasis in the correct principles. Whereas if society is guided only by mercantile people, then it becomes greedy. Greed becomes the driving force, not self-righteousness, not dharma, not morality. So that's the thing. So anyway, that's how it used to be. So therefore, Prabhupada says only Brahmanas and sannyasis. Brahmanas amongst the 4 varnas, and sannyasis amongst the what do you call ashrams. So actually, brahmacharis can also collect alms, but brahmacharis collect it and give everything to the guru. So they don't keep it for themselves, and then the guru will distribute it, right? And sannyasis are authorized because they do the best. They make the best use of the money. Whatever charity that's given to these people, which are the society that can make the best use out of it? If something is given, the best use can be made out of by brahmanas and sannyasis. So when they use all this charity, this wealth and opulence in the best use towards propagation of the spiritual ideals and concepts, then everybody becomes benefited, including the person who gave. They get benefited in the best way possible. So that's why this is emphasized in Vedic scriptures. So Prabhupada continues, because they would and could simply devote themselves to the well-being of the entire society. So Brahmanas are fully working towards the betterment of society. They are not interested in making gains or for their own ambition, nothing like that. They work for the benefit of society. So do sannyasis. So when these things are given to them, they will make the best use to benefit the entire society. So we can see that, right? And Prabhupada continues, because they give the highest quality of service in regard to the prime necessity of humankind. So why they are the best to be given charity to? Because they use that to give the highest quality of service. There are different quality of service, different levels of service, but the highest quality of service basically to direct society towards God consciousness. So that is the highest quality, charity to the soul. That is charity to the body and charity to the soul. So the sannyasis and the brahmanas who have dedicated themselves to giving charity to the soul, when society supports them, then the society becomes very, very blessed. So anyway, continuing, Aryan purificatory social infrastructure. So just a bit more on this, right? So the idea is human life is not uncivilized, it's civilized human life. So civilized human life means one has to go through purification. So what is purification? So basically there are different ways of purification. So but the social aspect of purification is through rituals, right? So when a child is born, for example, it starts with jata karma. Then as the child continues to grow, then the piercing of the ear, and then there is also the what do you call, the shaving of the hair. I think the hair comes first. Shaving of the hair, and then the piercing of the ear, and then like that one by one. Then there's the upanayana, wearing the Brahmin thread, first education, and then eventually marriage, and the last purificatory ceremony is the funeral, death, antyeshti. So like that, I think there are 15 or 16 purificatory ceremonies altogether. So these purificatory ceremonies can be divided into two types. Prabhupada describes, right? So one is called the Brahmanas, or sometimes it is referred to as Vedic. Actually, both are Vedic. So there is Pancharatrika and there's Brahmana. Both are of the Vedic, basically. But when you say Brahmana, Brahmana comes directly from the four Vedas. The four Vedas, Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva Veda. So in these four Vedas, there are four sections. And in one of those sections is called the Brahmana section. So in this Brahmana section, there's a lot of description about rituals, how to perform rituals. So it's coming directly from the four Vedas. So that's called the Brahmana. So it's called Shruti. Shruti means directly the four Vedas. But Smriti is also Veda, because the Skanda Purana describes that the fifth Veda is the Smriti, which includes the Itihasas and the Puranas. And this is also part of it, the Tantras, the Agamas. So Pancharatrika is particularly Tantra or Agama coming from the Smriti section of the Veda. So this is also Veda. Both are Vedic. So there are two types, Brahmana and the Pancharatrika types. Now, the problem, okay, before I go to the problem, the purpose of both of these, whether you follow the Brahmana rituals or whether you follow the Pancharatrika rituals, the purpose of both of these is to purify, to assist in spiritual upliftment. So it creates good samskaras. So when the child is given these samskaras, they go through these various purificatory rituals. It cleanses the subtle elements in their mind. So in this way, it brings them to a subtle cleansing, and it assists in spiritual upliftment to create a right impression as they grow up. They learn to respect elders, they learn to respect Brahmanas, they learn to develop faith in the spiritual process. So all this becomes ingrained right from young. So this is to assist, right? So that's the purpose. Now, the thing about Shruti, the Brahmana section of the Pancharat, the Brahmana section of the rituals, this kind of rituals, it needs Brahmanas. There are three things. It needs Brahmanas, it requires facilities, and it requires a lot of charity. So this is as per the Vedas, the four Vedas. So Brahmanas here means they need to be pure Brahmanas. So it is described that one who is not a Brahmana cannot basically recite the mantras given in the four Vedas. So the four Vedas, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva, is only meant to be read, studied by the Brahmanas. So the problem here is now it is Kali Yuga. So in Kali Yugas, this type of Brahmanas are very, very rare. You can hardly find such Brahmanas. And what is the one of the condition of a Brahmana? A Brahmana is always tushta. Tushta means he is always satisfied. He's not having ambition, material hankerings. Anything you give, he's satisfied. He lives a simple life, and this kind of many other qualities of a Brahmana is there. So that is definition of Brahmana. And facility also, right? To perform this kind of samskaras, you need a lot of items, ingredients, and you need a lot of purity. So nowadays in Kali Yuga, a lot of things are no longer pure. Many things are adulterated, mass manufactured, processed. So purity is very questionable. And so that becomes a problem in this kind of rituals. And the Brahmanas are also not so trained. They are not able to read mantras correctly. The pronunciation is often wrong. They don't follow the lifestyle of a Brahmana carefully. So those kind of considerations are very, very important. And then there's charity. The type of charity that's given. You can see, they gave elephants in charity, cows, and all that. So yeah, so as idea is we give as much as we can, right? But it should be given freely. So the concept is Prabhupada describes, so these are the types of charity: gold, cow, land, village, elephant, what do you call, horses, and then grains and foodstuff. So Prabhupada continues, it is not possible, however, to revive the Vedic process of purification in this age. So this type of purification, the Brahmana type of purification, it's very difficult to actually, most of the time, we are going to end up being cheated in this kind of rituals. So it becomes a money business, and people also don't really have so much of faith. The Brahmanas are also, it becomes very difficult. So for want of proper facilities and good Brahmanas, so not easy to get in this age. So generally, it's not possible for Kali Yuga. So the 6 Goswamis, who were the direct disciples of of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they recommend that we follow particularly the Pancharatrika Smriti. Because in Kali Yuga, everybody is born Sudra. So where else? This is meant for Brahmanas. So where to find such? So therefore, it's better to follow the Pancharatrika Upacharas, which is described by the Goswamis. So there is a book, Satkriya Sara Deepika by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He has described very nicely. So in ISKCON, generally, we follow the rituals based on the Pancharatrika. Both are accepted. Both are Vedic, right? This is coming from the Smriti literatures, from the Puranas, Agamas, and the Tantras, whereas this is coming directly from the 4 Vedas, which is not meant for Kali Yuga, especially. So the Pancharatrika system is the prescribed purificatory process suitable to this age and time. Right. So moving on, going on back to our verse. So anyway, Yudhishthira Maharaj, at that time, it was Dwapara Yuga. So therefore, they were having very, very qualified Brahmanas, and Lord Krishna was also still present. So the age was still good enough. So they were able to follow the Brahmana Pancharatras, Brahmana Upacharas. But still, both are equally potent. The purpose is to purify to help a person to become purified, to attain spiritual upliftment. So anyway, after giving so much of charity, Yudhishthira Maharaj pleased all the Brahmanas. So the learned Brahmanas who were very satisfied, Tushta, with the charities of the king, addressed him such. So here we are going to hear what the Brahmanas will speak. The Brahmanas said, this spotless sun, Shukle, Shukle means, in moon, we sometimes say Shukla Paksha and we also say Krishna Paksha. So Shukla Paksha is the waxing moon. The moon becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and ends up in Purnima. So Shukla can also mean spotless, right? So this spotless sun, perfect sun, has been restored by Prabha Vishnu. So basically they are recognizing, they know the history of this child. They know how this child was saved in the womb. So the word Prabha Vishnu refers to the all-powerful, all-pervasive Supreme Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu came, in the womb, Angushta Matram, remember, he came in the size of a thumb and he vanquished the Brahmastra and saved Parikshit. So therefore, because he was saved by Parikshit, he became famous. Because Parikshit was saved by the Lord, Parikshit became very famous. So the Brahmanas are reminding, this son has been restored by Prabha Vishnu. He was supposed to die. The Brahmastra was supposed to kill him. But he saved this child just to oblige you. So because Yudhishthira Maharaj was such a great devotee of the Lord, he was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. Daivena, by divine arrangement, he was supposed to die because of the Brahmastra. But still, the impossible was done by the Lord simply to oblige you. So actually, there are several reasons, and Prabhupada describes two of them. The child was spotless due to his being a pure devotee of the Lord. So the child himself is a very special child, not an ordinary child. And actually, we will hear more later about the greatness in this chapter and also in further chapters about the greatness of this child. It's not an ordinary child, it's a very special child. And on top of that, this child was the only surviving descendant of the Kuru dynasty. Is K, not P. P also, Puru. Pious forefather of the virtuous. So King Puru, there are two kings, King Kuru and King Puru. Both are coming from the same lineage. So here it's talking about Puru, one of the great forefathers of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So because there's no other heir, all the children of the Pandavas were killed. King is Yudhishthira Maharaj. And all of the Pandavas had one child with Draupadi, and Arjuna had other children with his other wives, but all of them were killed during the Mahabharata war. And because they were killed, but luckily, before one of the child was killed, what's his name? Abhimanyu, yes. Before Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, was killed, he already conceived a child with his wife, Uttara. So though Abhimanyu was dead, Uttara, his wife, was still alive. She couldn't enter the fire because she was pregnant. So therefore, the child Uttara was bearing, that became Parikshit. And there's no other children to carry on the lineage. And Lord Krishna wanted that a pure devotee is put as the king. Of course, Mahabharata war was won already. Yudhishthira Maharaj was to be the king. But Lord Krishna wanted to wind up his pastimes, and he also wanted the Pandavas to wind up their pastimes. So Yudhishthira Maharaj also will not reign too long. Another few years he will reign, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas will also retire and go back. So at that time, they needed an heir to continue. So Parikshit Maharaj was the only surviving one. So for that reason, the Lord also personally intervened. And later on, we will hear other reasons why the Lord intervened in this. So Prabhupada continues, such protection is given by his different potencies to different grades of living beings. So the Lord always protects his devotees. But here, Prabhupada describes, depending on your surrender, isn't it? Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right, as you surrender to me, I will reward you accordingly. So in the same way, as we surrender to the Lord, so different protection given, different grade of protection is given by his different agencies. So the Lord sometimes doesn't directly do it. He sends his agencies like Maya or whatever, the Guru or the someone, right? In this way, they come and give protection to the devotee. But as far as his unalloyed devotees are concerned, he gives the protection personally. So what is this? He directly gives protection personally to his sold out devotees. Who are his sold out devotees? Unalloyed devotees. So in other words, pure devotees. So what does this mean? How do we recognize what is pure devotee? Are we pure devotees? Can we become pure devotees? So the answer to that question is a very beautiful answer. So here we will explain a little bit about that. Because when Krishna wants to protect, there is no force on earth that can stop him, right? So there is a saying in Hindi, they say, Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rake ke. So Rake means protect. If Krishna wants to protect someone, death itself cannot do anything. Nothing can, if Krishna wants to protect someone from death, nothing can uh, nothing can cause that danger to a devotee. Complete protection he can give. But Mare Krishna Rakeke, if Krishna decides to kill someone, nothing can protect him also from death. So basically, he's absolute. He can give absolute protection. He can also, no one can also defend himself if Krishna decides to kill that person, right? So, but anyway, let's continue this discussion on unalloyed devotees. What does unalloyed devotee mean? So we know in spiritual life, we come to Krishna consciousness. What is it that we want to do? What's the purpose of Krishna consciousness? We are trying to serve Krishna for Krishna's pleasure, right? So, but just like we see in this pond, when we first come into spiritual life, sometimes, in this pond, you see there are many circles like this, because the droplets are falling in different places. So when there's a different droplet somewhere, you have a different circle, and they all, sometimes coincide like this. So what we see, the effect is the pond looks like there is no pattern overall. It's a bit of chaos because too many ripples, too many concentric ripples all over. So it causes a bit of chaos. So let's say our main goal is Krishna's pleasure. And sometimes we also have other desires mixed together with Krishna's pleasure. So this is called mixed or alloyed bhakti. Mixed bhakti or alloyed. Alloyed, what's an alloy? Alloy is like metal. If you take, like, for example, uh, bronze. Bronze is an alloy, right? It's a mixture of copper, zinc, and iron. So these three different metals, they mix together, they get bronze. So it's not a pure metal. It's an alloy, right? What's a pure metal? Like copper or gold, right? Pure, right? But sometimes they mix a little also sometimes. So we are looking about pure devotee, pure devotion. So while we are trying to serve Krishna, sometimes we also have these things. We also serve these, my needs. So it creates another ripple, which is outside from this main goal. So we have another goal. So then we have another goal, my pleasure. We also want to satisfy our pleasure, which may not be in line with Krishna's pleasure, or my need, which may not be in line with Krishna's pleasure. And we also have my ambition, which is nothing to do with Krishna's pleasure, right? Somebody has an ambition to be, Prabhupada says, we don't want to become a great devotee. We want to become a pure devotee, right? So we are not interested in being a great devotee. To great devotee means one who is famous, one who is popular, one who is glorified, one who is garlanded, or one who is whatever. Basically, of course, they may be also pure devotees. Great devotees also may be pure devotees, like Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? Like Arjuna. They are great devotees, but they are also pure devotees. But it's not necessarily the same. So we want to focus on being pure, and it's up to Krishna whether he wants to make one great or not, right? So that's our focus should not be these other things. Our focus should only be Krishna's pleasure. What else, right? Like my glory, or name, fame, glory. So people have this kind of consciousness. Sometimes they come to Krishna consciousness, and even in the progress of Krishna consciousness, these things come in between, right? For example, somebody, let's say in a group, in a festival, we know that there are 5 people who are waiting to do a particular service for the Lord. And we know that person A does the service very nicely, but person C is being called in the presence of person A, and person C doesn't do the service as well. But he knows that person A is there and he's waiting in line also to do that service. But rather than think about what is best for Krishna, he puts emphasis on what's best for himself. I want to do this, right? Never mind whether Krishna's pleasure is whether it's the best for Krishna, it doesn't matter. It's about me, my project, my service. So it's not about what is going to come out best for Krishna. It's about me. So that's why you can see I put here my. So these are all obstacles. So when these things are there in our lives, right, in our devotional service, when we do some kind of devotional service, we have to really introspect our heart. What is the real purpose, or what's the hidden purpose that we are doing what we are doing? Is it only for Krishna's pleasure, or it is also for Krishna's pleasure and also for my glory? It's also for Krishna's pleasure and it's also for my pleasure. So like that. So that is what we have to watch out for. So if we can bring this, right, then we can follow pure devotional service. So, and some other things, karma mishra bhakti. Some people are interested in Krishna consciousness, but they are very conditioned by the type of service. So service becomes more important than the Lord. So for example, somebody likes to, let's say, sing kirtan, but they like kirtan. Oh yes, I'm doing this for Krishna's pleasure. Okay, but then one day somebody asks them, okay, can you do another service? Can you do another service? Oh, then say, no, I can't do other services. I can only sing kirtan very nicely. So then it becomes karma mishra bhakti. One who he's putting the activity or the action higher than the need for Krishna's pleasure. So it's not about even the activity. So karma mishra bhakti, that's one kind of karma mishra bhakti is very big. There are many other things in karma mishra bhakti. For example, someone is basically glory. Someone is looking for glory, ambition, gain, followers. This is all called karma mishra bhakti. So that's the problem. Then we also have jnana mishra bhakti. Someone who's very focused on the philosophy only, very philosophical, but not really using the philosophy for Krishna's service, using the philosophy for other reasons, for example, to self-glorify himself, or to criticize other people, or to use it or simply for the sake of knowledge, not because they're doing, uh, not because they are learning scripture for their own development of bhakti, but simply to know more so they can, be known as a learned person or as an intelligent person. So that is called jnana mishra bhakti. So that is also mixed. Mishra means friend. Jnana mixed with bhakti. This is karma mixed with bhakti. Then we also have yoga mixed with bhakti. Somebody who wants liberation. That is jnana also. But yoga, like for example, some people, they are very much in the mode of goodness. They like to do, meditation and so forth. And they have a little bit of devotion also. But this is mixed, because the meditation is, what is the type of meditation they are doing? They are focusing on their meditation in getting liberation. If the focus of the meditation is to become free from material contamination, that is not really to serve Krishna. That is selfish in one sense, right? So that's yoga. Of course, it's still good. These things are all not bad. It's still good. Better include Krishna in all of these, but still, it is not the best. So therefore, Krishna says, don't remain in this platform. Understand what are all these things and move on to the pure devotional stage. So that's our transition in our spiritual journey. We should all move towards this stage of being conscious that we are doing our services and our activities and our meditation and everything simply for Krishna's pleasure and no other reason. Full stop. Then it becomes pure, unalloyed bhakti. When the focus is only one, it is to satisfy Krishna only, nothing to do with our own gain, fame, or glory, or whatever. Never mind if I'm not in the center. Even if a particular service doesn't involve us in the center and our role is only to support in a very, very small role, even though we think we can do better, whatever it is, doesn't matter. For the satisfaction of Krishna, we cooperate in that way so that Krishna is pleased. Right? So these are some of the keywords which we can remember so that we can recognize pure bhakti. So the point is, what's best for Krishna's pleasure and his pure devotees. So basically the pleasure of his pure devotees, the pleasure of Krishna. So that is the idea, right? So Rupa Goswami defines pure devotional service of devoid anya bilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. It's free from karma, it's free from jnana. It is only for the pleasure. Krishnanu, anukulyana Krishnanu, shilanam bhaktir uttamam. Uttama bhakti, pure devotion, is only for anukulyana Krishnanu. Pure service only for Krishna's pleasure. That is pure bhakti, right? So for example, we come and do some service. Doesn't matter if people know or don't know, right? We're not interested in advertising our services. What we do or what anybody does, it's between the Lord and us. Paramatma is in our heart, right? So we do it simply for his pleasure. So then it becomes pure devotional service. So even in pure devotional service, right? So we have different categories in devotional service. So different, Prabhupada continues, he talks, because it's important point we have to understand. Sometimes a lot of misunderstanding in this. So these points have to understand. There are three kinds of devotees. So there's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was once asked a question. This person who asked is Satyaraj Khan. So Satyaraj Khan, he's a great devotee of the Lord. When Mahaprabhu, he came to Puri from Bengal. So he came to Puri and Satyaraja Khan asked him in Puri, who is a devotee? So then the answer that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave is, a devotee is one who chants the holy name of the Lord even once. He is a devotee. So after hearing this, Satyaraj Khan went back. And then he stayed, then the next year only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went back to Bengal. And then later he came back to Puri. The next year, no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always in Puri. It was Satyaraj Khan who came from Bengal to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. After visiting, then he went back to Bengal. And then in the next year's yatra, he came again to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then again he asked this question, who is a Vaishnava? And that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a different answer. So he told that a Vaishnava is one who chants constantly. Remember the first answer? The first answer he said, a Vaishnava is someone who chants even once the holy name of the Lord. But now he's modified his answer to say a Vaishnava is someone who chants constantly. And then Satyaraj Khan went back. And then after 1 year, again, he came back and asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the same question, who is a Vaishnava? And again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a different answer. This time he said, a Vaishnava is one who just by seeing him, other people would want to chant, are inspired to chant the holy names of the Lord. That is a Vaishnava. Simply by seeing that person, other people would feel like they want to also be like him. They also would like to chant the holy name of the Lord. So that is a Vaishnava. So all three answers are correct. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't lie. He's the Supreme Lord. So how do we understand this? They all sound different. So the Acharyas explained that how we understand this is there are three categories of Vaishnavas. All three are considered Vaishnavas, but there are three categories of them. So the first category is called Kanishta Adhikari. So Kanishta Adhikari is someone, it means it's like the neophyte, the new devotee, the one who is fresh. So Kanishta means one, Ka Nishta. Nishta means steadiness, and Ka means where. So it basically means where's the steadiness. So in other words, it's not steady. The devotion, the faith in that person is not steady. That's what it means by Ka Nishta Adhikari. So Prabhupada defines Kanishta Adhikari is one who respects the deity. He comes, he sees the deity, he has some faith, he has developed some faith for the deity in the temple, but he doesn't have sufficient knowledge in the tattva, in understanding the concepts. So therefore, he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes in one's conduct. Accidentally, he commits sins, and sometimes he also commits aparad because of his lack of knowledge. So that becomes a problem. And therefore, without any respect for the devotees of the Lord. So therefore, this is another problem with Kanishta. Kanishta, they will always be fighting. So they will have differences of, they will not understand that the Lord is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart. So they will see the person as with the duality vision, with the eyes of duality, and they will always, have disrespect for others. So this kind of, they have respect for the deity, but it's very difficult for them to develop respect for the devotees of the Lord because of lack of understanding and lack of knowledge. And they will also, develop some ill feelings. There will be envy, there will be, all these jealousies and all these other things, basically due to ignorance. So they have also a materialistic concept. So in other sense, there is still desire for gain, for ambition, for name, fame, glory, or whatever. It is all there. There is, because such a person, he comes from the material life. And sometimes when we come into spiritual life, we bring our tendencies from the material life into the spiritual life. So that's very important for us to understand. We need to let go our materialistic tendencies because that's our nature, right? We grow up in this life. We are taught to, be kyasu. We are taught to be, be the number one, be the best, or how to, there's always competition in school from the earliest age to the, there is competition. Sometimes it's necessary because in the material life, one has to go through all these things to survive, but that's material life. But when we enter spiritual life, we are supposed to throw these things out, keep them out. Just like how when we enter the temple, we keep our slippers outside, right? We need slippers, we need shoes. We keep them, we use our slippers, we use our shoes to walk outside and everything. But when we enter the temple, just like when we enter the house also, we are supposed to keep the shoes and slippers outside. So these slippers and shoes are like the materialistic tendencies, our tendency to glorify matter, to bring materialistic concepts unnecessarily into spiritual, to try to, invent something, to create something unnecessarily, which creates a problem. So that's the thing. We sometimes it's very difficult for us to accept scriptural knowledge as it is. We have the urge to, if someone is trained in a certain way in the material world, we want to include that forcibly inside spiritual life also. Like corporate mentality. We want to include corporate mentality also inside the spiritual atmosphere. So yeah, without wisdom. So that's the problem. So we have to keep these things outside. And when we enter into the temple, just like how we wash our feet, we wash away all this mentality, and we accept the hat of humility, the hat of tolerance, and so there's a proper etiquette. So Kanishta Adhikari doesn't understand all these things, but he's in the process, right? And then there is Madhyam Adhikari, the next level. So Kanishta Adhikari is somebody where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one who chants even once. So his faith is not fixed yet. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he does, sometimes he may not do, right? So, but there is faith. It's not fixed yet. Then there is the Madhyam Adhikari. So Kanishta is considered mixed bhakti because there is also other contaminations in the heart, other thoughts, and he does not have enough knowledge or determination to understand that he needs to put these things away. Even if he has not overcome it, he should at least know theoretically what the standards are and what his standard behavior should be, at least theoretically. So when he's not able to develop that, then he's Kanishta. So Madhyam Adhikari is the next level. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's definition? One who chants constantly, right? That means one who has accepted the process of bhakti yoga seriously. In other words, one who seriously practices. For example, one who takes initiation. That means a commitment, right? One takes commitment. One accepts certain vows, right? So this is called Madhyam Adhikari. Developed a mentality of genuine service. So he knows, but there's some knowledge. He knows now he can differentiate. He can differentiate what is pure devotion and what is mixed devotion. He at least theoretically he knows it, even though he may not be pure yet. He may not have removed all these things in his heart, but still at least he knows theoretically, and he's striving towards that. So developed a mentality of genuine service. That's important. Who thus makes friendship only with similar devotees. So here he is able to distinguish who is the serious devotee, who is not the serious devotee, who is the dangerous devotee, who are the types of devotees we want to really associate with. So that's a very important point, because people think, oh, why should we differentiate? Everybody is equal, everybody is wonderful, everybody is nice. So that is actually not a very intelligent idea, right? So yeah, we in soul everybody is equal, yes, but we are all born with different conditionings, and we all have different mentality. Our aims and our motivations are all different. So birds of a feather flock together. So if we want to do well in education, we make sure we make friends with those who are serious in their education, right? We don't make friends, or at least we try to. So in the same way, if we are serious in trying to develop some quality, we make friends amongst people who also have the same goal, the same motivation. So that's the idea. So in ISKCON, Prabhupada built a house for everyone to live inside. And in there, we have people who come in with all kinds of motivation, with all kinds of ideas. So a Madhyam Adhikari, he is able to understand from scripture, from hearing, what should be the right ideal, what should be the right mentality, what should be the right standards. And he is able to differentiate, judge based on understanding people, that these people are serious, these people are those people I want to have better association with, not simply blindly associate with everyone and cause danger to oneself. So this is called the intelligence of discrimination. Discrimination doesn't mean that we say these people are, like that, so we don't want to. That's not discrimination. Discrimination simply means to be able to differentiate. not in a derogatory way, but in a way where we can take advantage correctly. We don't want to mix with certain types of people where it can spoil our devotion. For example, somebody is always like to, blaspheme people. If somebody is always blaspheming people, this person's like that person's like that person's like that, and you associate with that kind of person, then that's going to be dangerous. Eventually, you'll also be like that. Whereas if you associate with people, like Prabhupada's disciples, sannyasis, those who we see who are serious in their spiritual life, then we can make rapid advancement, right? So who does make friendships with only similar devotees? This is what Prabhupada says. I'm taking these words from Prabhupada, right? And shows favor to the neophyte. So to those people who are not someone who he wants to take association with, what does he do? Does he discriminate against them? Does he blaspheme them? No. So we differentiate those people who we want to take association and those people who are dangerous, who we want to limit our association. We don't shove them away. Instead, we show mercy to them. That is what Madhyam Adhikari does. He doesn't take association with them, but he shows mercy. He understands, yes, these people are new, they have not understood certain things. So when they behave in such a way, all right, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to, keep my distance or whatever. But at the same time, respect them, Hare Krishna. And at the same time, be merciful. We don't have to be critical. We don't have to be attacking, right? So we can try to give them some kind of advice, maybe in a nice way, or at least, so that kind of thing. That's Madhyam Adhikari. So this is what it means by shows favor to the neophytes. Who are the neophytes? The Kanishtas. So it helps to preach to them. So that's the idea. And he strictly avoids the atheist. Sadhu Sangha, right? We want to take Sadhu Sangha and Asat Sangha Tyaga. Rupa Goswami gives this advice in the Nectar of Devotion. He says, if we want to increase our devotion, we need to stay away, asat sangha tyaga. Those who are bad association for us, we must strictly stay away from them. So what is association? Association, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like when somebody is in the same, for example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if somebody is sitting in the same boat, traveling from one place to another, and you and another person are traveling in the same boat going to another place, that is not association. That is simply moving in one place. Your circumstances has put us together. We are moving from one place to another, and you may talk to a person. It doesn't mean, oh, I don't want to talk to you because you're Asat Sangha. No, it's not like that. So it simply means, yeah, we are in the same boat, right? I'm dealing with you, you are dealing with me. We will be respectful for each other, but I'm not going to. Association means we share our heart. Association also means we reveal, what are the 6 qualities of association. Rupa Goswami describes, right? What's that verse? Dadati pratigranati guhyam. Sorry, no, it begins with E. I can't recall it right now, but basically the translation, it means that giving and receiving foodstuff, bhunte bhojayate chaiva, giving and receiving, dadati pratigranati, bhunte bhojayate chaiva, and receiving gifts and accepting gifts, taking foodstuff with that person and receiving foodstuff from that person also, and also revealing one's heart in confidence, and also hearing the other person's heart in confidence. So these are the 6 Satvidam Priti Lakshanam. These are the 6 type of loving association. This is what's called association. So therefore, this is how we understand it, right? Madhyam Adhikari. So he avoids the atheists, shows favor to the devotees. He distinguishes who is serious and who is not, and takes trouble to associate with those who are serious, and carefully avoids those who are not, although he tries to be merciful to them. So that is the idea. And completely avoids the atheist. That is the Madhyam Adhikari. So this person is making progress very quickly. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says one should not remain in the Kanishta Adhikari state. He should make endeavor to move to the Madhyam state. Then he is safe. In the Madhyam Adhikari here, he is making tangible progress. And then there is also the Uttama Adhikari. So this is the one Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes as one who simply by looking at that person, you feel inspired so much. You feel like you also, oh, his attitude, whatever he's, who the achar and the prachar is both very good. Somebody who speaks, achar means one who acts. It's easy to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, some people, they are very good in achar. They speak very nicely. They talk all kinds of wonderful philosophy, but their behavior is terrible, offensive, rude, uh, very caustic, difficult to, so these kind of personalities are there. So the prachar is not very good. The achar is not very good. Achar is one's self-conduct. Prachar is one's speech. Whatever one preaches doesn't match his conduct. In English, they say the man walks his talk. So the walking and the talking is two different things. So that is not Uttama Adhikari. So Uttama Adhikari is one who talks and one who walks. Both, one who walks is talk, right? So who sees everything in the Lord or everything of the Lord. So he sees the Lord everywhere, right? In philosophy, in understanding, and he deals with everything accordingly. And one who sees in everything an eternal relation to the Lord. So this kind of vision is very advanced. One cannot imitate. No, that's another thing. Some people, they try to imitate this. This kind of behavior cannot be imitated. It is to be understood, yes, but one shouldn't artificially try to behave like this. That creates a lot of frustration and it creates a lot of nonsense also. So one should know, right, what is the ideal behavior, and one should internally try to move in that direction, not externally try to show that. So that if we externally try to show that, then it's like us trying to gain name, fame, glory. Oh, let other people see how humble I am or how wonderful. So that is not what we do. This is for our internalization, not for external showing. So anyway, this is Uttama Adhikari. He genuinely feels this way, so that there is nothing within their purview of sight except the Lord. So there are devotees like this, Uttama Adhikari devotees, right? The many Prabhupada disciples who are still living, who practice like this. Simply by looking at them and seeing their lifestyle, we get so much inspiration, right? So that is Uttama Adhikari. So all of these, right, are glorious. Even the Kanishta Adhikari, because he has come into the process of devotional service. Just like how a green mango, in the beginning, a green mango, if you take the green mango and you bite into it, it's very, very sour. Your face will screw up like, so that is the taste of, nobody wants to just bite into a green mango. Even if it's Alfonso mango or some kind of Baganampally mango or something like that from India, even if it's that kind of mango, if it's green, you don't want to bite into it. So pure devotional service, the point is, if one understands that devotional service is meant only for the Supreme Lord's pleasure, right? Even in the beginning stage also, he is like a mango, but he's in a green mango. Now, Kanishta Adhikari is mixed bhakti. Madhyam Adhikari, he understands what is pure bhakti already, but he's trying, but he's not there yet, but he's trying, but he understands, right? So he's like the green mango. See, what does the Madhyam Adhikari has to do? What does the green mango has to do? Simply wait, isn't it? You just give it time. Eventually, this green mango will become, this mango. Very, very sweet, luscious, juicy, and delicious. So simply by continuously following the process with faith and enthusiasm and patience, eventually this green mango will turn into this. So, but you have to first become a mango. If we are some other fruit, if you are a star fruit, for example, a star fruit will never change into a mango. So how can a star fruit become a mango fruit in the first place? One has to have knowledge. One has to have the right understanding. That's why Kanishta Adhikari is difficult. One cannot remain in this platform, in the platform of mixed bhakti. One must come to the platform of Madhyam Adhikari. Understand by hearing Shravanam process, what is the standard? How do we can understand this? By hearing more Srimad Bhagavatam, where we hear about the wonderful pure devotees of the Lord, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can understand what is the standard of pure devotion. We know what is the right behavior, and we work towards that behavior, and we have a constant practice to support that, right? Chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulatory principles strictly, and associating with the pure devotees. So in this way, or associating with those who are serious. So a Madhyam Adhikari is also a pure devotee. Although he is not Uttama Adhikari, but he is pure devotee. Because why? Because his goal is mango. His goal is not star fruit. His goal is not some other fruit. He's not interested in karma, Mishra Bhakti. He's not interested in liberation. He's not interested in getting name, fame, glory for himself, right? Although he may have the desire, but he knows it's wrong. And he knows that I shouldn't mix this with my pure devotion. When I do devotional service, I should not think about these things. So he tells himself that, and then he continues his devotional service. Then he's Madhyam Adhikari, and he's pure devotee. So pure devotee doesn't necessarily mean Uttama Adhikari only. Even Madhyam Adhikari can become pure devotee, right? And that is the point here. And at each stage, one has to have, just like when you want to have mango, this mango tree must have good soil, right? When the soil is bad, then the fruit will start to rot. Even the green mango, it cannot become ripe mango like this. When the soil is diseased, then the fruit will also rot. So this soil, this ground is like the sadhu sangha, association. So in Madhyam platform, one is interested to ensure that the soil is healthy. He wants to ensure that his association is healthy, so that there is no chance of danger for the plant, right? So the sadhu sangha is the support for the tree of devotion, because it nourishes. What does the soil do? It nourishes the tree, right? It gives nutrients, it gives support for the roots, right? And it is the way mercy flows. Mercy is the water, but the water flows through the soil and enters through the root. So the mercy of Krishna also flows through the devotees of the Lord. No other way. It comes through the devotees of the Lord. That's why it's very important to serve a pure devotee. That's why, the process of taking a guru, service to the pure devotees is very much stressed. So that is like the soil. How important the soil is for the plant, that is how important association is in the process of bhakti. What else do you need? Not just soil, you need the sun. The sun, what does the sun do? The sun, of course, we know photosynthesis and all that. So the sun gives energy, it creates enthusiasm. It also purifies, right? Anything which is impure, when the sun rises, the area becomes purified when it touches the sun ray. Sometimes we dry beds outside in the sun, and it becomes purified. So sun purpose is to also purify. It is also to enthuse and give energy. Sun is also to direct, because the plant, it grows towards the light, right? Like the sunflower moves towards the sun. So the plant also grows towards the direction of the sun. So it ensures that the direction is always correct. So the sun is like a guru. In devotional service also, one needs the guru. Without the guru, we will lose our direction, because the guru is very important to direct us on what is correct, what is not correct. And the guru is also merciful. He purifies, right? The guru's association is very purifying, just like the sun. And simply by seeing that guru, who is a pure, generally, who is like that, you also get enthusiasm. Simply by seeing the guru's enthusiasm, you get your enthusiasm, just like the sun. What else do we need other than the sun? Definitely we need watering, because without water, the plant will not survive. So what is this watering process? So that is the process of bhakti. So it begins with the seed. The bhakti lata beej is planted. Adho shraddha, right? Then it comes to sadhu sangha, getting the association of devotees. The seed is planted on the ground, right? And the sun is there. Then we also get watering process. That's the third step, bhajana kriya. Watering process is the process of watering the plant. In devotion, how do we water our devotion? By following the four regulative principles, by chanting Hare Krishna. Not really. The main thing is Shravanam. The how we water our devotion. It begins with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, right? Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. 9 processes. And it begins with Shravanam, hearing. How does the Kanishta Adhikari move to Madhyam Adhikari, right? It has to have Shravanam. Otherwise, where the knowledge is going to come from? And together with that, he pairs it with Kirtanam, chanting, purifies himself. As he purifies, the knowledge takes deeper root. Without purification, the knowledge may not enter into the brain. So with purification of the chanting, the knowledge enters the brain by sharing. And by performing services, it purifies also further to help us to chant, to help us to hear. So that is the process of watering the plant. So this has to continue every day. And we also need the moon. The moon, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the moon, I am the moon which provides juice to all the plants. So the function of the moon is to revitalize. That's why, when we sleep, the next morning we wake up fresh. You try sleeping in the day, and then you will wake up, you will not be as fresh as when you sleep at night and when you wake up in the next morning. So the moon has a function in this. It revitalizes, it creates vitality in our cells. So this is something that the modern scientists haven't fully discovered. They have discovered some things about the moon. There is some research going on where they found out that the moonlight actually helps to treat insanity. So there are people, that in the desert, they made these satellite dishes which reflect the light of the moon, and it focuses it into a single beam, and they make the person sit there and receive the beam, and it actually helps them with insanity. I've read a research on that. So actually it works. So the moon is very strong. The moon can even move the tides, the water, the sea level can rise up and down simply by the power of the moon. And our bodies is made up of 80% water. If the sea water so heavy, the sea water can rise because of the moon, can you imagine how it affects our body, in our mind and all these things? Moon also represents the mind. So in devotional service, moon is like the blessings of the Supreme Lord. The blessings of the Supreme Lord will come when there is proper association, when there is proper watering. All this is our own effort, right? Watering and association is our effort. We have to take the effort. And by the mercy and the purification and the direction of the Guru, Guru Kripa Prasade Bhakti Lata Beach. Guru Krishna Prasade. By the mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, we get Guru. Krishna in our heart sees our desire, sees our enthusiasm. He gives us Guru. And then he looks at us and tests us. What are we going to do with the Guru now? As we serve the Guru and follow his instructions carefully, Krishna becomes pleased. So the moon, after the daytime work has been done, when we sleep, the moon simply by its nature nourishes our devotion. So that's what it does. So Krishna is like the moon. It gives full nourishment to our bhakti. Mercy flows and revitalizes everything. So then the green mango becomes, or the ripe mango. So that's how from pure, once we are in Madhyam Adhikari, we can move to Uttama Adhikari. So, and Prabhupada says, a devotee who may be in any of these categories is automatically qualified by all good qualities. Any category. Of course, we know about Uttama Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari is also a very good position. But Kanishta Adhikari also is not bad because he is in the process. He is in the process, already in the process. He just needs to strengthen that faith and move to the Madhyam Adhikari level. And once he's in Madhyam Adhikari level, he's quite safe. He just has to practice it carefully, right? And he will move on to this level of Uttama Adhikari. So anyway, that is basically the three different types of devotees: the neophyte, the endeavoring serious devotee, and the pure and the Uttama Adhikari. So all of them can be pure devotees, right? Especially the Madhyam. From Madhyam onwards, one can be pure devotee and moving on to Uttama Adhikari. So it's not like, oh, we have to wait until we become some great saint, then only we are pure devotees. Not necessarily, right? Even if one is sincerely, genuinely trying with all the baggage in our heart, right? And we serve, we try our best. Prabhupada describes that that is also pure devotee. So we don't have to worry. So for this reason, so continuing that, right? So basically the Brahmanas are saying that this child is going to be a very special child. He's saved by you directly because just for your sake. And for this reason, this child will be well known in the world as Vishnu Rata. Vishnu Rata means one who is saved by Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu himself saves the child in the womb. So he is famous as one who is saved by Vishnu. O Mahabhaga, O greatly fortunate person, there is no doubt that this child will become a Mahabhagavata and will be qualified with all good qualities. Mahan. And what are these good qualities? We are going to hear about that in our next session, right? So I mentioned that we will hear the astrology. We didn't go fully into the astrology yet. So we are, because some important concepts needed to be explained here based on the purport. In the next session, we will move straight into the descriptions of the different astrological aspect of Parikshit Maharaj. So it's quite interesting, right? So anyway, Prabhupada comments here. The family in which a Mahabhagavata, this is a very nice point Prabhupada makes here, which we have to also understand nicely. The family in which a Mahabhagavata takes his birth is fortunate because due to the birth of a first great devotee, the members of the family, past, present, and future, up to 100 generations become liberated by the grace of the Lord out of respect for his beloved devotee. Very important statement. This is not just Prabhupada saying, it's later in later chapters and later cantos also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in Canto 7, when he talks about Prahlad Maharaj. So what it means that if we are so fortunate to have a devotee born in our family, the entire family, father, mother, uncle, auntie, nephew, cousin, everybody, for the past few generations are benefited. So here, Prabhupada is describing here the Mahabhagavata or the Uttama Adhikari, the topmost devotee in the pure devotee line. So if one is a pure devotee and one is Uttama Adhikari, 100 generations up and down, that means 100 generations before our birth and 100 generations after our birth, all of them are going to be liberated without you doing anything, simply by being a pure devotee of the highest order. right? All these people are liberated, right? That is the promise of the Lord. He mentions this to Parikshit, to Prahlad Maharaj in Canto 7. So Prabhupada is mentioning it here now, right? So that's Uttama Adhikari. And even for Madhyam Adhikari, it is described for 7 generations, at least 7 generations up and down, they are benefited. Simply because that person is seriously taking up the process of pure devotional service, the entire family members up to 7 generation up and down are liberated, are benefited. So, of course, we don't consider ourselves that way, right? But we see, but the point is, this is the glory of pure devotion. This is the glory of taking up this process. So in this pure process of pure devotion, one doesn't have to bother so much about other rituals and everything. Sometimes, people are very worried about their, forefathers, this Amavasya, that Amavasya, they want to do this puja, that yagya, this yagya, that samskara. Yeah, we can do and all that. But actually, one who is a yogi, all of us who are trying in the pure devotional line in Bhakti Yoga, these things are not really necessary. We can do it if we want to, but one shouldn't really be so worked up about it. Because simply by sticking to the process of devotion, simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, simply by chanting Hare Krishna 16 rounds every day, simply by worshipping the Lord, each and every one of these items is enough to liberate all our family members. No need to do anything else, right? So that is the power of Bhakti Yoga, and it is confirmed in all the scriptures. So simply by, for example, if we recite Bhagavad Gita on the day of the Tithi, that is so fortunate for that person, right? Rather than doing anything else. Of course, sometimes we do these things for social reasons, because then it invites people, then other people can come, then we can share this philosophy with others, and they also get to hear, and we can give prasadam. So all that is very nice. But sometimes if it's not possible, simply by chanting Hare Krishna in front of the picture of the departed soul, right? This is enough, more than enough. So Prabhupada reinforces, therefore the highest benefit is done to one's family simply by becoming an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. So if we take up this process of pure devotion, focusing ourselves simply on the pleasure of the Lord, on satisfying his lotus feet and the lotus feet of his devotees, it is the best thing we can do in our life to ourselves and to all our family members for several generations. No question about it, right? So that is the power of pure devotional service. Okay, so then I'll just stop with this last one. After hearing this, Yudhishthira Maharaj is very eager. Sri Raja Uvacha, O great souls, O Brahmanas, will he become a Raja Rishi, a Punya Sloka Mahatma? So, a great-minded person who is glorified, Punya Sloka, that means choice poetry is used to glorify this person. Will he be like this? And as famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? So this question, it may look like as if he is interested in material purpose, but actually it's not, right? But anyway, I will end with this and I will explain this in the next session later on. So since probably we may have another next session next Thursday, since I skipped the previous Thursday, but I'll keep you all informed. So for now, we will stop here. So here we will hear later, the Brahmanas will explain further in more detail about the glories of Parikshit Maharaj and about his death, how he is going to die. So that's very interesting to hear also. All right, so I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's important for us to chant the holy names of the Lord. before and after we hear. So it helps us to understand, it develops the faith in our heart. It most importantly, it invokes the mercy of the Lord so that we are able to properly understand this subject matter. So anyway, so we end here. Any questions, anybody? You can just unmute yourself and speak, or you can type it in the chat. Or you could also, if you think of any other questions later on, you can also put it in the group chat, and we can try to address it. Or if you want to send it to me personally, is also fine. Okay, so great. If there's no other questions, then we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you, Prabhu.